Wow. Okay, so Caitlin is going to teach you a sex concept that's going to change your sex life forever.
Describing to them even what you're going to do. You know, later I'm going to tie you up, going to put the ball gag in.
Sometimes I just want you to turn me around and fuck me.
Yeah, just like rill me. Like,
hello, my loves, and welcome back to Luvbites by Dr. Tara podcast. I am so excited to have this fabulous guest back, Caitlin V. We're joined by Caitlin V, sex coach and the host of Good Sex on Max. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me back.
Welcome back. I mean, you have so much knowledge that like I feel like we probably need like 50, 100 episodes.
You know, I've been trying to get us to do the Caitlin V. Dr. Tara retreat one day.
Oh,
I
that's
think I would just want to like download it on multiple days to people, you know, and then like serve them food in between.
Good food.
Good food.
Good sex and good food. Mwah. Chef's kiss. So today you're going to change our lives.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Even if you've heard of this framework before, which you might have, I hope you have heard of it like in the ether.
I feel like most of the people listening have not.
Girl, this was life-changing. I remember exactly where I was when I first heard this framework. I was driving and I was turning left and all of a sudden I was like, this is the new path for me. Like even as I was turning, I was like, I'm going to learn everything I can about this and I'm going to share it with as many people as possible.
Wow. Okay. So Caitlin is going to teach you a sex concept that's going to change your sex life forever. So Caitlin, erotic blueprint.
The erotic blueprints. Yes.
What is it?
And not just your sex life, your whole life. Because
your whole life.
I like to think about these. Yes, they are erotic for sure, but they're really like a blueprint for pleasure. So I think that these 5 erotic blueprints are really the 5 ways in which we experience not just arousal and turn on, but pleasure as a whole. And pleasure, as we know, is not just limited to the bedroom, right? It's like how we decorate, what we wear, the conversations that we have. Yeah. The way that we even like write our online dating profile, like all the various ways that we can express ourselves in a pleasurable or relationship context or even like in the space around us. So
love it.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
I say that gently, like tie a like little silky rope around you.
So what are the 5 erotic blueprints?
So the erotic blueprints are a typing system. They're like an archetyping system. You know, you're similar. Think about like the 5 love languages, right? We use those to describe the way that we want to give love and receive love. The erotic blueprints are the ways that we want to give and receive pleasure, turn on, arousal. And they are essentially like 5 different roadmaps for how someone might get to arousal and pleasure. Some people may experience one of these predominantly. Sometimes you may have all 5. We'll talk about what that looks like as well. Okay. So maybe I'll just go through each of them and we can talk about each one's superpower and their shadow side. All right. First, and let me say, I'm going to give these to you in the order that I recommend you try them on in, and you try them with a partner, but this isn't necessarily going to be like the order they work for you.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So first is the energetic blueprint. These are folks that are turned on by anticipation and tease and spaciousness, and they're very, very sensitive. They're like, they can have full body, non-touch orgasms. They can have non-genital orgasms, you know, if like the shaking, quaking sometimes without even being touched or just connecting with a partner. The energy between partners is very, very, very important to them. They can be aroused sort of by like just the sensation or the anticipation of like the closing yearning? The gap between people. Oh. Yes. Yearning is an energetic blueprint activity. For sure. Okay. Like, so much of the touch and the way that they like to be approached is a little bit like indirect. If you go, and this is sort of their shadow side, if you go directly for like genitals or nipples or like, you know, heavy make out or just like, you know, kind of come in too fast, that can actually overwhelm them. Oh. They're sort of like very sensitive little antennas. So they're picking up everything. So if you just kind of like start to cram that antenna with a ton of information and touch, it can be like, too much, closed down, not turned on anymore.
When you said antenna, I thought you said anteater. I'm like a sensitive, like an anteater.
I would imagine anteater. My cat is very energetic, so I would imagine that anteaters could be energetic too.
So is this kind of like tantric sex?
Tantra would mostly fall under the category of energetic, but you may be very energetic and never have played with Tantra. And if you are really seeing yourself in the energetic blueprint, like maybe look into Tantra next.
Okay.
But
so
yeah, absolutely.
We'll talk about like how to figure out what you are later.
Yeah.
But okay, so then the second one.
Let me show you a touch technique for the energetic blueprint, which is to take your arm or hand or some skin that's exposed and just do like a very, very light, feather light touch. Or you may even just hover your hand and see if you can just feel the energy, feel the heat. And maybe give one of these first and then see how close you can get to your skin before you actually touch it, where you can have awareness of the fact that there's, you know, a hand
Wow,
there.
I want you to do that on my arm. Let's see if I can feel it. Oh, I can totally feel it.
So I can feel you at there already.
Wow. Wow. Okay, I see. And like with someone that you're sexually attracted to, it's probably kind of tenfold.
Yeah,
right?
and you can, you know, if they're energetically very potent and you're energetically very potent, it makes it a lot easier to do that if you're tapped in, if you're sensitive. I've done work on people where I could feel their energy field like 10, 12 inches off of their body.
Wow.
I'm energetically sensitive, but
Yeah.
I haven't spent like a ton of, you know, I've done some Reiki training and stuff, but like it's not really my main blueprint where I live in.
But you can feel
But
it
you
from
can
afar?
feel it from
like, can you walk
afar.
past a guy and be like, whoa, nice dick, bro?
I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, I feel like that's more about my training. But like, I'll tell you this, I met someone the other day at a party who I thought was like very attractive.
Yeah.
And I was having like a little bit of a light flirt with them, very light, because I could tell that they were very energetically sensitive. Because as I put my attention onto them and as I started to like kind of, you know, I would say like move my energy towards them. I could watch, I could see it having an effect on them. So I was like, oh, okay, like you're very energetic. I can't, even that, like even a flirtation can feel way too direct. So I started to pull it back and waver a little bit. And then I'm like going to get something out of the other room and then coming back and re-engaging so that, you know, this person had space to like acclimate to my energy. And I could feel like when they were moving towards me instead of me like pushing towards them.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So I love the energetics are, it's a superpower, right? All that sensitivity, but it also is kind of their downfall because, you know, again, like they can kind of short circuit. It can just be like too much, too fast. They're not able to like
and they're
find their way back. Yeah. They also, in some ways of teaching the blueprints can get a little hierarchical. Like they can kind of feel like their way is the best way. I've definitely experienced with some energetic lovers where they're like, why don't you just like take a moment and breathe and like connect with my energy? And I'll be like, oh, come on. Like,
sometimes I just want you to turn me around and fuck me.
Yeah, just like reel me. Like it's not, you know, I want to meet them where they're at, but sometimes it can feel a little like this is not the best or most like moral way.
Superiority.
Right, exactly. It's okay if you like this and you want this, but that doesn't make it like the right way to do things.
Okay.
Anyway. All right. So that's blueprint, first blueprint. Second is the sensual blueprint. And these are people who are turned on by things in their five senses. So, the sight of things, the smell, the taste, the touch, they have a really high tolerance for pleasure. They can, you know, really enjoy like a long massage and a long cuddle. Not every single person will have that, but that's like a good tell for a sensual blueprint. They also really like to, you know, be surrounded by like nice things or soft things. Great example of a sensual is someone who is really into the music. Like they're playing music while you're making love and then a song comes on, they don't like it. And they'll be like, I gotta go change the song.
Wow.
You know?
Like heavily affected by all the senses.
Yes. And turned off by the senses too. So their shadow side could be like, they can't get into it if there's a dirty pile of laundry or if they know the dishes aren't done or the music's not right or they haven't showered and their body doesn't smell good or like, you know, they can be kind of like icky about fluids and things like that. That can all be a sensual blueprint person.
Okay. So no piss play for sensual.
Oh my God. No, but it
lovers.
may be because what if they really like warm liquid?
Okay.
Like that could be a very sensual experience if they weren't squeaked out about it. Yeah. But they may be like, ew, body odor, but like, yes, piss. You know?
I see.
One of the tells of a sensual blueprint, not always, but a lot of them moan. So like when they eat food in particular, they'll be like, or like they find something they're like really vulnerable about it. Like, oh my God, I love this. It feels so good. Oh my God, this chair is like so velvety, amazing. Like that's
I feel
super
like that's my
sensual
husband.
Blueprint. You know, knowing everything that I do about him, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a sensual blueprint.
Interesting.
You know, he cares a lot about textures and visuals and, you know, like that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I got to test this with him later.
Yeah. Well, so another thing about the sensual blueprint, not all sensual blueprints, but most of them like love physical touch. The touch for them is fully contouring your hand to the body, a little grounded, a little more like a massage touch. And sensual blueprints can sometimes get lost in their head if their body's not being stimulated, if the sensory experience isn't strong enough for them. So if you've ever gotten close to having an orgasm and then like lost it, like just went away, that may indicate that you're a sensual blueprint person. And the antidote for that is using your body and your five senses to like get back into your body. So that could be like grounding, holding touch. It could be a firmer touch. It doesn't have to be a painful touch, but something that again, like anchors them back into their body so that they can go all the way to orgasm, again, using their like sensory superpowers.
Okay. Love that.
So third blueprint is the kinky blueprint. So talking about piss play. Perfect. And let me say this. You could go 3 or 4 depending on, the person that you're with, but I'm going to give them to you in this order. Kinky blueprint is someone who is turned on by that taboo. That doesn't necessarily, so when I say kinky, like what comes to your mind is probably like whips and chains and floggers and, like fancy BDSM. Restraints and yes, BDSM. Yeah. But kink also includes that which is psychologically taboo. Right. So like daddy little girl, like being called good girl or bad girl or slut or whatever, like all of those role-playing things, all of those name-calling things, anything that's like psychologically taboo, even having a fantasy about someone that you're like not supposed to have a fantasy about, that all falls under the kinky blueprint. And kinky folks,
like this is mine.
Yeah. Definitely. Kinky folks also sometimes like to get away with things. So like thinking about kink outside of the bedroom, like these are the folks who are like, do you want to see if we can sneak into this VIP section? You want to see if we can do this? You want to see if we can get away with this? Yeah. Or like, I'm cheating on I said I was going to work out 3 times this week, but I'm not, or whatever. Like we all, like those of us who kind of like to break the rules. That can also be kinky blueprints. Yes. Mischievous for sure.
What is the shadow side though?
Shadow side is that, their superpower really is that they're creative. Yeah. Right? They have like endless creativity. Anything can become a scene or a sex play. They can come up with like
immense sexual imagination.
Oh my God. Yes. Endless. But the shadow side of that is that they can sometimes need more and greater stimulus in order to get off. So they can kind of need, they like develop a tolerance to kinky things and then they need it to be like even stronger or more aggressive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Resonated.
I definitely get bored.
Yeah. We can
need change.
We can seek a lot of novelty.
Yeah.
Right? Like I need new novel experiences. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the 4th blueprint is the sexual blueprint. Okay. So this is the one we were all kind of raised at and conditioned to think that we were. We're all taught that this is what sex looks like.
It's porn.
It's porn. It's naked bodies. It's genitals. It's orgasms. It is simple and straightforward, and that is its superpower. It doesn't need energetic play or kinky play or scent. The laundry could be whatever. The energetic connection could be whatever. Like naked bodies, genitals, let's go. But that is also their shadow side, is that they may fail to understand what their partner really needs in order to get to arousal, and they may be like,
just put it in.
Yeah. What do you need? Yeah. Just like, come on, let's get there. Let's do it. Like,
so this is the blueprint for the guys that like just strip down and insert, like penetrate.
Yes. Well, that's what they've been taught to do, right? It may be true that that's what they're doing because that's what they think they're supposed to be doing, but it may also be true that like, they just, they don't actually know that they're energetic. And for those guys, when they're like, dealing with premature ejaculation, which is one of my specialties, they might just be energetic. Yeah. And they're super sensitive. And then they're just like going for penetration. Their body's like, I can't take it. And it just,
and it just,
the other thing to know about the sexual blueprint is that for them, sex is like the air we breathe, the water we drink. It is just a part of life. And they can get really anxious and like, they can struggle a lot when they don't know if sex is going to happen or when it's going to happen next, or it's not happening like frequently enough for them. They can start to be like, but when are we going to have sex again? When we didn't have it yesterday and you didn't say when, and like, will you let me know when? And, I have a lot of sexual blueprint myself. So when I've been in a relationship that was going through a period of sexlessness, I'm like spinning out, like what's going on? And is the relationship over? And is it ever going to be fixed again? And and so the 5th blueprint is the shapeshifter.
Okay.
And the shapeshifter is someone who has all 4 of the other blueprints and really needs all 4 of the other blueprints to be satisfied. And they shapeshift into whatever their partner needs. So if you're a shapeshifter and you're with an energetic sensual, you'll just be energetic sensual. Or you're with a sexual, or you're with a kinky or whatever. Like you just get into it because you can speak all of those languages. But the downside is that they are often told that they are too much. They're asking for too much. They, they'll never have all their needs met, or, that's me. I'm a shapeshifter. And when I learned about this, I was like, oh, it's not that there's anything wrong with me. I'm not asking for too much. It's just that like I have all of these cups that need to be filled, and I've only been filling these 2 because that's what my partner is.
Yeah. Okay, next I'm going to ask about how to figure out your blueprint. But before that, I'd love to talk about MyONE condoms. So MyONE condoms offer custom-made condoms. They have over 52 sizes, 52, more than any brands out there in the market. 52 different sizes, so you can find the perfect one for you. They have like 10 different lengths, 9 different girths, like there's so many options. And it's just awesome, right? Like you've seen this fit kit before, right, Caitlin?
Yes, you introduced me to this and I'm still
obsessed.
obsessed.
You can get this fit kit online. So if you click the link in the episode description, you can get, you can go ahead and get like free samples. You can get the snug one for those that lean on the smaller side. You can get a classic one, which is kind of an average. And then you can get a large one for people that are packing. But you can get this fit kit and you can measure your dick. So measure the length. And then you measure the girth. Like, is this the girth? Is this right? You can measure the girth.
Goes up to this.
You're like, this is me. Is this festival bracelet or penis? But you can measure the girth and then you just plug it into the website and it will give you a custom-made condom that you can order. I mean, I think for me, if I'm sleeping with a man who uses regular condoms, I'll be like, what are you doing?
Right. You didn't put any thought into this?
Yeah, you didn't put any thought into this. Like,
you just went down to the store and grabbed whatever? It was on sale or whatever?
Yeah. Like, did you buy your suits from Kohl's? Or did you get it custom made?
Right. And the other thing is you can play a fun game with your partner if you're in a relationship where you guess what size. Like you take this and then with him not around, be like, babe, I think you are a 55.
What if the guy's like offended? Like,
girl, I was so off. I did that with my partner.
Oh, you did? Was it off?
I was off in both directions.
Really? Yeah. Were you more generous or were you more stringent?
I was probably one in one direction and one in the other, like more generous in length, but not in girth. I don't know, but I was embarrassingly off. But the funny thing is that studies show that women do a poor job of accurately estimating their partner's penis size.
Right. Yeah.
Proven here.
Yeah, totally. And also, like, I think it gives you a lot of confidence as a man to wear something that fits perfectly on your penis. Because I know that if you're leaning on like the average to smaller side, you might like go to CVS, pick up whatever, and then wear something and has it be loose at the end.
Right. And then you're thinking about it because you don't want to like accidentally have it slip off or you have a spill.
Yeah. You don't want it to be loose, to be too tight. So it's like uncomfortable and you can't come. So best to just get ready, get yourself measured, order your custom-made condoms, and just be that hot baller man that you are.
Period.
Period. So definitely check the link in the episode description for MyONE condoms. My favorite. Okay, now, how do I figure out my erotic blueprint?
Well, hopefully in that description, you kind of heard some things that reminded you of you.
Yes,
like maybe
I have. Two different ones.
Right. You mentioned, was it kinky? And what was the other one?
Sexual, yeah.
Yeah. And you know, the funny thing is when you study this, like it's me, I've been doing this for a few years. Like I'll be able to kind of guess someone if I know them. I've spent like a couple days with them. I can pretty much tell you what their blueprint is because we show it all of the time. We're like giving away our tells, right?
But
like
I feel like I might also be shapeshifter because if I'm having sex with like a tantric practitioner, like I'm down.
Right. Well, and you practice sexual meditation.
Yeah.
Right?
And I love sexual meditation.
And I think you also have high sensual also, and maybe that's something that you've increased more from your relationship with your husband. But I think like the way that you dress, sort of like, you know, you like, you obviously care about textures and stuff. Like, I think that also is reminiscent of
I think the only thing that didn't resonate with me was like, if there was like dirty dishes in the sink or blah, 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 like I don't really care much
remember,
about
that is their shadow side. So you may have the superpower. Now, if you're a shapeshifter.
I just have the superpowers. No shadows.
No shadows at all. But if you are a shapeshifter, you can have all 4 of the superpowers, but you can also have all 4 of the shadow sides.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So hopefully you saw yourself in that. I have a link to a quiz that will help you to determine your erotic blueprint type. We'll have it in the episode description. But I also think like with the quiz, take the quiz, but only after you've sort of played on your body a little bit, because the quiz is very much asking your mind, but like it's your body that really has the best information, right? So
like listen to the description of each one and like feel it out in your body. Yeah. Like you can probably take an audit, right?
And imagine your like most exciting sexual experiences, erotic experiences with a partner. Like what were those like? The moment, the cool thing about the erotic blueprints, what I love the most about it maybe is that I, like most people, grew up thinking that sex looked a specific way. We took off our clothes. There was some like oral sex and some foreplay and some fingers. And then it was like this and this and this and then this. Like that was it, right? That was what sex was.
Yeah.
And what the erotic blueprints has really allowed me to own for myself is that like, no, actually like tease and anticipation is like, that is also sex and it feels awesome. That's also eroticism. I'm allowed to feel turned on with that like sensuality really matters. That like, even if I'm doing something kinky, like say I'm being tied up and being restrained, that's kinky because it's taboo, right? But it's not like super taboo. Like for me, like, oh my God, it's not like that edgy. But it really matters that those experiences are also sensual for me. Like I don't want to be just restrained. I want to be restrained with something that feels nice. I want to feel restrained by something, like I'm not into having like a jute rope that's like scratching my skin, right? Like I want something that feels good and sensual too.
Yeah.
So we can begin to like ask, like, what are those peak experiences for you? Which of those blueprints did they start to fall into? And then once you kind of have an idea, like, oh, I am really sensual. I haven't been expressing that part of me. Where can you begin to express that part of you that cares about how things look and taste and feel and sound? Like, can you give yourself permission to like make a sexy playlist or dance or, incorporate food or other kinds of touch that feel more in alignment? Can you take things slower? Because the sensual also can have non-genital orgasms, just like the energetic, but like it really requires us to approach them sensually. And if we're letting the sexual blueprint drive and we're just going straight to genitals, we're going to be missing out on a lot of like that other stuff that maybe is going to actually be more pleasurable. The other part of that is a lot of folks, in their first 1 to 3 years of their relationship, they have a lot of sexual blueprint sex, right? Like you need this person, you crave them, you're like horny thinking about them, you get together and you like smash, right?
Yeah.
But then you need to be able to transition to these other blueprints. And if you maybe aren't just having sexual blueprint sex anymore, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong.
Right.
It might mean that you're just like more energetic or more sensual or more kinky or a shapeshifter. And so you need more variety.
So that's my next question. Can your blueprint change over time and with different partners?
I think definitely can. I think that there's sort of two ways of thinking about this. Does it change naturally as a response to your experience? Is it that way already, but then you become open to it, right? So like, for example, maybe you've been having sexual blueprint sex and then suddenly you realize that's not the only way to have sex and you uncover your sensual, but like, was it there the whole time or did it change, right? Alternatively, if you're with someone who's maybe kinky and you haven't found your access point to kinky, that's like your lowest blueprint, you can find places where the blueprints that you do have intersect with the kinky blueprint. You can find your own, point of pleasure in kink and get access to expanding your blueprints that way.
So like maybe like sensation play, that's like kinky, maybe wear a pig mask while doing sensation play.
Or maybe you like, maybe you're not into like really hard, heavy, painful spanking, but you like a really gentle spanking.
Yeah.
Or maybe you really like being told what to do, but you don't like being degraded,
Or like
maybe you're
underwear
more
vibrator at a nice fine dining restaurant.
Right. That's very kinky. And it's also sexual.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like direct on, it's genitals. Yep.
And kinky. Wow.
And sensual
I might
because
have
you're
unlocked
eating.
something.
And it could be also energetic because you're like teasing and playing.
I just got a new underwear vibrator, so I'm going to try it this weekend.
Oh my God. Yeah. Let me know how it goes. I'll expect that text
I
message.
gotta book a restaurant, a fine dining restaurant.
Yes.
too.
Yeah. Specifically for that vibrator.
Well,
but make sure it's a restaurant that's not too quiet.
Oh, that's right, because it goes zzz.
But I know you hate a loud vibrator.
What's
so
going on? I know. I only like quiet
yeah,
vibrators.
that'll be fine. Bring a like little pillow or a thick purse to your lap.
So if two people have the same blueprint and they're in a relationship, is it better for them? Are they more compatible? Or it doesn't matter if people have different blueprints?
Yeah, I think if you might find a lot of peace and alignment and ease if you have the same blueprint as your partner, but you may also be missing out on more pleasure and different experiences that could come with having someone who has a different blueprint. So I don't think either one is necessarily better, but I do think that in terms of relationship ease, a lot of people think that they have mismatched libidos or that they're not like good sexual, or they're not sexually compatible with each other, but like really it's just that they have two different blueprints and they haven't figured out how to bridge the gap, right? You know, very common, but certainly this is not, it's not gendered, but it's more common for women to experience that they have the sensual blueprint and then they're with a sexual blueprint male partner, right?
So kind of like a spontaneous desire and responsive desire.
Yeah, kind of similar, right? Like sexual blueprint guy is like, yeah, I'm down. Let's have sex.
Go.
I saw your naked body and I'm ready to go, right?
Penetrate.
And she's like, I need a lot of physical touch and warm up to ground me into my body before I can experience arousal. Like I need you to be touching me and snuggling, cuddling me. I need maybe for us to take a shower together so I feel like really clean. And also the shower is such a sensory environment, right? Yeah. And so they feel like they just aren't speaking the same language. And in many ways, they're not. But what they fail to realize is that there is overlap between those. And often one blueprint will lead to the next, will lead to the next. So maybe she's very sensual. And then as soon as she gets her kind of sensual needs met, then she switches to sexual. But then maybe she doesn't stay in sexual very long and she actually goes to kinky.
Right.
Or maybe she goes back to energetic because she's like, oh, now that we're here, I actually need a little bit more to appreciate like the spaciousness and I need to breathe with you and get the connection between us. So we're all kind of wired individually. It's really about getting to know yourself and getting to know your partner. And like if both people are willing to do the work of figuring out each other, then I think that's the best sexual relationship.
Yeah, I love that because, you know, at the end of the day, you just want to learn to speak different languages. Right? Like, and this to me is like different sex languages and you want to be able to explore these different things. It doesn't matter if you have a primary and you only practice that one primary, but I'm thinking about like 40 years from now. And if like, let's say if I'm kinky and I'm only doing kinky, like I feel like I'm missing out on so many other things. Yeah. Right? Like I think that's why about 5 or 6 years ago, I started exploring and studying Tantra and tantric sex and sexual mindfulness practices because I feel like I am not educated in that realm. I'm very Western educated and like Western way of thinking about sex versus like where I'm from, which is Thailand and like Asia and Southeast Asia. There's like so many, I don't know, like almost like a ancient, like historical things that people have learned long time ago. And so that's why I kind of venture into that a little bit more. So I'm feeling a little bit like a shapeshifter at the moment.
Yeah. And I think to your point, like you and I want to have range.
Yeah.
Right. I love erotic experiences and play and pleasure. So I want to figure out how to have all of the ones that I can.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to this and you're like, wow, I'm really solidly one blueprint and I'm like really solidly happy and I'm glad to know about myself, you can also expand and explore into that blueprint. Like any of those blueprint is a fractal.
Yeah.
You know,
like
you can go
so
deeper and deeper
one.
and deeper. Yeah. It can never stop. And then, like I said, you can take it out of the bedroom.
Right.
So maybe you're very sensual and now you know that about yourself. So like you build a more sensual toy chest, a more sensual bedroom, a more sensual office. You add sensuality to your meetings. You can add sensuality to your conversation.
Sensuality to the meetings. Yeah. That's what I bring.
Oh my God. So many of my colleagues will have like a little feather pen or something. Like they have a feather, like a little poof ball on the end of their pen and they'll just be like having a meeting, but also like kind of grounding themselves in their sensual body. You know, make it your superpower. Bring it everywhere.
Talking about that, like what do you say is like the best foreplay for each erotic blueprint?
So I'd say for an energetic foreplay that is like either low or no touch even.
Oh, so that like involves maybe sexual meditation.
Yeah, that involves maybe some eye contact and breathing together, but then begin to like bring your erotic energies together. You know, like think about your energetic genitals. So you have like an energy cock and an energy vulva, and you can imagine them. You can like even literally visualize
like,
your energy.
Your energy cock.
Yeah, you can imagine like being penetrated or penetrating with your energy cock. Like reach across the space between you and like pull on their erotic energy or bring your erotic energy, allow them to bring their erotic energy. Like that is great foreplay because it is energetic. It like primes their body and their mind to be, you know, to like have more touch because it's starting incrementally. We're starting light and then we can add more as we go. So that's great foreplay for an energetic. For a sensual, doing like a massage, maybe with like one of those little oil candles, right? So that they have some temperature play, really grounding them into their body.
Massage
maybe make it
candle.
erotic massage. So like
Yeah.
start with their whole body, but then massage their genitals for a while. Yeah, right?
It sounds great.
There's the sensual foreplay right there. For a sexual, maybe doing something like a strip tease.
Yeah, because they like naked
They
bodies.
like naked bodies. Like give them, and this is not a gendered thing, like give them a little show. You know, maybe take off your clothes kind of slowly and tease them a little bit, but then not too much because that's an energetic. Like sexual's not going to love being teased too
like,
much.
Show me your dick.
Right. Or maybe like really get into giving them oral sex. Like think about oral sex as like a birthday party for their genitals.
Yeah.
You're like, I am in here just celebrating the fuck out of you.
That's what I do. I'm always like, if my husband is receiving a blowjob, it's always going to be the best blowjob of his life.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah. Or else I'm not doing it.
I always say that you can make up for a lack of technique with enthusiasm.
Yes.
You cannot make for a lack of enthusiasm with technique.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Because you can be like, oh, whatever. And
right.
like,
you're like,
you know,
I'm doing everything right, but I don't. Versus like, you could be doing everything wrong, but like, I'm so happy to be here. They're like, yeah, I'm happy you're there too. Amazing. Best blowjob.
Okay. So then foreplay for kinky.
Foreplay for kinky. This could be, wow, it's endless, right? It would be understanding whatever your partner's particular like taboo thing. It could be like telling them that they need to do something in order to get sex later. Like, are you going to be my good girl? I need you to like
dirty talk.
Yeah. It could be like, I need you to do this particular thing for me to get your body ready for me for later. Or it could be like, describing to them even what you're going to do. You know, later I'm going to tie you up, I'm going to put the ball gag in, I'm going to flip you over, I'm going to spank you until you're like, you know, you could be just describing what it is that you're going to do to them to like build that up.
I'm about that. That's hot.
Or if you're into like a dom sub dynamic, you could like begin to play in that dynamic before you even, you know, bring the things out.
Yeah.
Create a little scene for them.
He like calls me or texts me and it's like, go take a shower for daddy and daddy will come home and make you come.
Yes, exactly.
Like, yes, I'm taking a shower.
Right? I'm taking a shower. So that's also sensual on his part too.
Yeah.
And it's a little taboo because you're like, okay, I'm being told what to do.
Yeah, I love that. So then best foreplay for shapeshifter would just be like any of these, right?
It could be a combination of all of those actually. Okay. So something like what we gave an example earlier. Oh, great foreplay example would be buying that vibrator and wearing it to the nice restaurant or even just to a restaurant, like wearing it out on a date. That touches on a lot of these areas. So like the energetic may get into the anticipation of doing this thing. For some energetics, that might just be too much. They might be like, I can't wear a vibrator to a restaurant. Fine. Okay. If that's not your style, then even just talking it out maybe could be something that arouses you, or you're playing with the energy cock or the energy, energy like sex while you're at the restaurant, or you're doing breath work and like staring and you're feeding each other. That brings in the sensual. You're not supposed to be doing that in public. So that brings in the kinky. So like thinking about ways that you can bring in all of those things to an experience.
Energy cock, man. That's my favorite word today.
Yeah.
2 words.
One of my favorite things in the whole world. Love energy cock. You have an energy cock too.
Thank you.
You know?
Is it nice?
It's very nice.
Okay. Is it circumcised?
It's very bright. I can't even see it. It's so
pink.
bright.
My energy cock is pink. Okay. So what about masturbation? Like how can we use, once we know our erotic blueprint, how can we use that for our self-pleasure?
I'm so glad that you asked because most people just masturbate in the sexual blueprint.
Yeah.
Right? But that's how we were taught to masturbate.
Porn, watch something graphic and then like just go.
Get a toy, go straight to vibrating, you know? So that's very sexual blueprint. Just going straight for orgasm, right? So if you resonate with the energetic blueprint, can you like tease your whole body? Maybe do some breath work, some sexual meditation, maybe like light touch all over your whole body. For sensual, can you maybe like give yourself a bath? Like fill it up with things that feel good and smell good, and then maybe even masturbate in the bathtub while you're having this like other sensory experience, like play music, do all that. If you're kinky, you can bring in some like physical sensation, or you can play both dom and sub to yourself.
Really?
Like you can dom yourself into masturbating. Yeah.
Wow, how do you dom yourself?
I have some folks like look in the mirror and kind of play the dom when they're looking in the mirror and the sub when they're looking away from the mirror. So they have sort of like a division between them and the dominant them, right? You know, some folks just apply the physical sensation items like, you know, whipping or spanking or flogging themselves. So I can
look in the mirror like this and go like, get on your knees, you slut.
Yeah. And then you turn and you do it. Yeah. Totally.
Wow.
Play with it because, all
That's
of these are, especially with kink, it's going to be very individual.
Yeah.
So like one of the ways that you can masturbate kinkily is by allowing yourself to have a fantasy that you don't usually let yourself have.
I love doing that.
I love that too.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my God,
I think
I'm
a
so
lot about like
bad
taboo things
thinking about
that
this.
are not something I would say.
Yeah, exactly. So that is
Yeah.
great for kinky masturbation.
Love
yeah. Or like you can
that.
even read
I'm gonna try more of it.
erotica that is in that blueprint that kind of like
Yeah.
gives you some more ideas and some inspiration.
Yeah, I've been listening to Erotic. I just finished it actually. It finished me too. But it's about like this guy who used to fuck a lot and now he's a priest.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, you should read it. It's good.
That's kinky on so many levels that I love
Yeah, he's a
it.
priest and like there's this hot girl at his church. Like there's so many different things going on, but it's great.
Interesting.
Okay, so what would be the last thing that you think everybody should know about Erotic Blueprint?
Just like with all things in eroticism and in your journey of sexual self-discovery, these are tools that you can play with and revisit as many times as you want. So even if you had maybe a less desirable experience with one of the blueprints in the past, doesn't mean that you can't play more around with it in the future. None of these require you to dive in full throttle. You can play with them, even just mentally. You can experiment with them in your mind before you bring them into your bedroom or into your masturbation or into your partnership. And I would say just keep trying and keep exploring. I think sometimes we can get turned off and like, oh, that didn't feel right one time, and so I'm never going to do it again.
Right.
Like, keep trying. There's more to it there for you. And it's a courageous act to keep trying, but like, you'll never fail if you just keep trying and playing with it.
I love that because like, yeah, sometimes like the first time you try anything, it might be, there's so many other like circumstances that could have affected the results of it. Like I would say I would try everything twice, sometimes 3 times, just to be really sure I don't like something, to falsify like the things I don't like.
Totally. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the blueprints are a great roadmap for trying things.
Thank you so much. Okay, next
pleasure.
segment is 5 quickies with Dr. Tara.
Okay.
Ready?
No, but let's go.
Number 1, hottest way you have incorporated erotic blueprint into sex.
I recently had a partner tie me up and then feed me brunch.
Love that.
Kinky and sensual. And also like energetic. So I'm like, what's going on and what's happening? And I'm like blindfolded. So I don't even know what's happening. Like, is this French toast or like what is being put in my mouth right now?
Is this dick or French toast?
Actually, no. At one point, he rubbed his beard against my face, but I thought it was French toast. So I started trying. I was like, I was like trying to eat it. Then I was like, that's human. Like,
Okay, that's super hot.
It was so fun. Highly recommend.
Okay, 2, unexpected turn on you've discovered after understanding your blueprint.
I have always been a little energetically sensitive, but when I started leaning into the energetic and doing some like very intentional work on expanding my energetic potential, my whole experience of like orgasms and sex changed.
Wow.
I became so much more sensitive. I had this like, I don't know, it's probably akin to like in a Kundalini awakening, although I wouldn't necessarily use that language. But I had like an orgasm, non-touch orgasm that like came right out of the center of my body and was like a tornado. And I was just like, what the just happened?
Whoa.
And literally after that, I was a changed person and I was more energetically sensitive. And because I was more energetically sensitive, I couldn't be having the same amount of casual sex that I was before. Because I was like, I can feel your energy and I don't want to like mix energies the same.
Ooh, I kind of want to try that. Like I've seen it from time to time online, a Reiki sex practitioner. Kind of want to try it, but I'm also afraid. Like I don't want, because my energy is so good. I don't want anyone to like fuck with my energy.
Yeah, you really need to go with a qualified practitioner for that stuff because those lines can get very blurry.
Okay, number 3. What is your next sexual fantasy that you want to try?
I have been into having sex outdoors.
Oh.
But it's been winter.
Ooh.
And I would like to see where else I can get away with having sex outside.
Nice.
Yeah.
We have sex outside a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah, in many different places.
Parks. Picnic table at a park is like a highlight for me.
Hiking
Anywhere
trails.
that you can see stars is really great.
Joshua Tree outdoors.
Yeah. I have had sex at Joshua Tree outside of the park on a picnic table. But then all these teenagers rolled up and we like got the fuck out.
Have you tried Disneyland?
No.
I cannot say if I have, but
But it's an idea. It's certainly a possibility. Yeah, in my car, in an alleyway, you know, like all that. Yeah.
Okay, number 4. If your blueprint was a cocktail, what would it be called?
My blueprint would probably actually be like a series of 3 cocktails.
Ooh.
It would start with a suero, which is lemon juice, sparkling water on a salt rim. And then it would graduate to like something really sweet and fruity and pink. And then the next thing would be like something spicy and maybe that had like coffee in it and like really like spanked your mouth. And then you'd get like a little candy at the end to come back to sweet.
That. I was going to say mine is spicy lychee martini.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That is so on brand.
Okay, last one. What do people assume about you based on your blueprint?
Like when I tell them what my blueprint is, I think when I tell people that I'm a shapeshifter, they probably assume that that also means that I like to have a lot of sex with a lot of people. Like there's or like I'm down for anything. This doesn't happen so much anymore because my energetic boundaries are tight.
Yeah.
But I think people used to assume like, oh, if you have all this knowledge and you're interested in these things, like you must be down for everything and anything. But actually, this means that I am less down for things because I really know what it is that I want. Yeah. Now I'm like, okay, I want you to rub my feet. Well, you do this and that. And then you play with my hair and then you call me a good girl and then you feed me a berry. And like, you know, I actually know more about what I want and I want less.
Hell yeah.
Or I want more, but I want more of the things that I want. More of
the things that you know you like.
I'm actually not down for anything. I can't do that shit anymore.
Love that. Okay, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/CaitlinV or at CaitlinVNeal.com or on HBO Max on my show Good Sex.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, my loves, for listening and watching till the end of the episode. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and rate the show. It means so much to me and to us, the team that's making this show. And per usual, have an orgasmic day. Bye.
Thanks for listening. This was Love Bites. Love Bites. By Dr. Tara. Follow Dr. Tara on social media at lovebites.co. Have an orgasmic day.